You start and then you stop. And then you start again and then you stop again. It's this cycle of starting and stopping and starting over again. You have come to a place where you are extremely frustrated with yourself because you keep finding yourself back on day one of whatever that goal is, whatever that task is, that project. You never get across the finish line and you're wondering, what's wrong with me? Why don't I want it bad enough? Why am I not consistent enough? Why am I not motivated enough? What's going on? Why do I keep failing? Why do I keep quitting? Why do I keep giving up? If that's you, if that's the inner dialogue that you're having today, I want you to know that today's experience here in the I Am the Possible podcast universe is for you. I have dedicated this episode, this experience to meeting you where you are, sharing my own personal stories and sharing some information that I believe is going to educate you, encourage you, and most importantly, is going to empower you to begin to move forward in some powerful ways. So, if that's you, kick back, relax. You are in the space, you are in the place where possibilities become perspective. Welcome, guys, into the I Am the Possible podcast experience. Yes. Hey guys, welcome once again into the space and into the place. I is your host, Treveal, C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? And this is the place not only do possibilities become perspective, but where we specialize in sharing perspectives on life that give life to what is possible in life, in your life, most importantly. Guys, today I want to talk about the start and the stop cycle, but from a whole different perspective. As you guys know, I specialize in the intrapersonal communication space, informing you, inspiring you, educating you, equipping you, hopefully encouraging you most of all, um, in the fact that you're only a little learning away from living, a little learning away from living what's possible. It can all be learned because wherever you are today, you have learned your way there. And wherever you want to be tomorrow, the good news, you can learn your way there. We live what we learn, and that's the rule to life. We live what we learn. We can learn through trauma, like many of us did. Let me raise my hand first. Or we can come to the place where we begin to learn through truth. And we can begin to live a life that aligns with that, where whatever we learn from, we align with and we live from. And so today I want to share with you, and I want to continue to beat this drum. I want to continue to stand on this soapbox. Self discovery is the greatest form of self development. It truly, truly is. When we say, what is the greatest form of self development? What's the greatest path to self development? I believe that it's self discovery. Before we level up, we can and we should level down. Get to know what's already there. I am an advocate for the already. God has already blessed you. He has already given you everything that you need to become, do, and have everything that has been purposed for your life. I believe that with every fiber in my being, it's already there. It just needs to be discovered. It just needs to be explored. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. So first off, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for being who you is, where you is. Thank you for listening, tapping in, plugging in. Thank you for being a part of this ecosystem. Thank you for supporting me, this platform. Thank you for every text, every download, every share, every comment, every view. on the tube, and you should be watching on the tube. Thank you for every subscription. Just thank you for engaging and supporting this platform and this work that I believe in so passionately. Okay. So today let's talk about the start and stop. And I'm going to do this by sharing a little bit of my own story. I was telling a dear friend of mine just the other day, a mentor of mine, actually, friend and mentor. Met him over 20 years ago. And I was telling him how I think it's really time for me to begin to share my story, to begin to share more of my stories. I have a lot of stories. I've been through a lot. Some of you have heard some of them, but there are so many more that I've not shared. But I'm going to begin to do that. I'm going to begin to share more of my stories because I believe that you can relate to my stories. And I want you to know if that idea was even ever out there, that hey, he's never going through anything, he's always happy, he's always optimistic, he's always Mr. What, and I'm the possible universe, and he ain't ever going through nothing. I'm going through something all the time. I think we all are going through something all the time, and I think you know that. I think you're intelligent enough to know that we're all facing some sort of challenge to some degree. But I also think that it's my responsibility to avail myself more, to show more of that side of me, to show and share more of my struggles so that you can identify with me more, so that we could relate to one another more and on a deeper level. So today, let's get started, man. I'm going to share with you that recently, and I won't share all the details because someone may be listening. Okay. I can't control who listens to the podcast, and you never know who's listening to the podcast. So I'll keep names out of it. But just recently, I had a very difficult situation on my job. Very, very difficult situation. And now, after a few days being removed from it, I like to say that it was perhaps the best thing to have happened to me in a long time. It caused me to wake up and to do some deep thinking and consideration about my life and about where I am. And I'm one of those people who, like you, in certain areas of my life, I do the start and stop thing too, man. I do the inconsistency thing too. I do the start and I'm going for a little while and then I'll shrink back and go back to what I was doing before, never quite getting over the finish line in particular areas of my life. And it made me think, this little incident made me think, why am I not more consistent in pursuing these other career paths that I say that I want to pursue? It made me reflect. It made me question. It made me think. I remember times in my life when I was extremely motivated, focused. The follow through was no problem. I wanted what I wanted and I needed to get it and I had to have it. And so I did what it took to get it. And that was one area of my life. But in these other areas of my life, it seems like I'm motivated temporarily. I burst out the gate, but then I shrink back. And I find myself saying, where did the momentum go? Where's the passion? Where's the fire? Where's the fuel? And maybe you can relate to that. You're questioning yourself. Where's the passion? Where's the fuel? If I really say that I want this thing and I really want it, then why am I not consistently motivated to be consistent enough to get across the finish line? That might be that inner dialogue that you're having. Well, I've had that too. And this moment on my job, it hit differently, as we say. It made me go deep and say, what am I doing? What's the what, man? What's really going on here? And I began to pray. I began to ask God not to do something for me, Well, I guess it is still doing something for me, but not to do it for me. I was asking God, give me some awareness. Help me to see what I've never seen. Help me to understand what I've never understood. Help me to grow in my awareness around areas within me that I am still not quite aware of. I've been in therapy for over a year. Last last year, December, 2024, I hit a emotional brick wall, crashed and burned. And I'll share more about that in upcoming episodes as I take you through my whole faith journey, more specifically. But I hit a wall, crashed and burned, and I had to get into therapy, had to get a therapist, and I'm still in therapy. So I've learned a lot about myself over the last year or so. But I have been in, you know, psychology, self help, neuroscience, the inner world. I have been into all of these things for the last 20 something years. It fascinates me. I had already been reading every book I could get my hands on. I had already been studying and researching psychology and becoming certified as a life coach and these other different things, right? So I had already been in it, and then now I'm in therapy as well. And so yet there's still some things that I'm just not aware of about myself. So I asked God, I said, God, I need to be aware of what's making me stop. Why am I starting but stopping in these particular areas? Because there are some things that I still desire from a professional perspective that I've not yet accomplished. I thank God for my job. I thank God for the 9 to 5 that has put food on the table, as we say, a roof over my kid's head, my wife and kids' head, as we say, clothes on our backs. I'm extremely grateful for the last 20 years of corporate America. It has blessed us. It has given us financial stability. It has given us the ability to invest and to save and to be generous and to do some things, to do some traveling. It has afforded us a lot, and I'm very grateful. Yet I'm I'm purposed for something even better, even greater, right? There's a dream in me that's even greater than this. This is good. This is okay. But there's a vision in me, man, that goes beyond the 9 to 5. And I'm not poo-pooing 9 to 5s. If you have a 9 to 5 and you're in your heart of hearts, because this is what matters, in your heart of hearts, if you are satisfied with that 9 to 5, by all means, man, do your thing. Okay. I am not there. There's no judgment on 9 to 5s. I'm just not built for this long term because as much as I've tried to suppress or depress some of these visions and some of these things that are in my heart, sometimes I've even been so desperate that I've tried to pray them away. They're not going anywhere. I am made for full-time ministry, and there is a space and a place for me, and that's going to come to pass. And this moment on my job just reignited something within me that says, no, no, no. The reason that you're not satisfied with this situation, why this continues to bother you, is because you are created for something more. And so, with that in mind, I'm asking God, I'm praying to God, yo, if I'm meant for more, made for more, purpose for more, created for more, and I believe it, why am I not consistent enough in pursuing some of these other things that are required in order for me to have and to be more in this other arena? And as I was praying, God led me, I believe, to come across some information that revealed to me another piece of the puzzle. It's something called delay aversion. This inability, this disdain for the delayed, for the mundane, day in and day out task. Same old task. The same repetitive, what I call boring, gray, just tasks that I'm not interested in. However, these tasks are vital. They are a part of the overall success system, the overall vehicle that's going to move me from where I am to where I ultimately want to go. But I'm wired in a way to love the exact opposite. And this is why I stay on this soapbox, guys. Here comes the good news. This is why I stay on this soapbox about self-discovery and self-assessing. When you know yourself, you know your success. No self, K-N-O-W, no self, no success. When you know yourself, you know your success. You'll get to know your success. As you get to know yourself, you'll get to know your success. In other words, the better you can relate to yourself, the better you can create for yourself. I had taken some assessments years ago, and I have a book in front of me right now of one of those assessments. Rather, this book contains an assessment. It's called The Six Working Geniuses, an amazing book, 6 types of working genius. And I'm going to read something from this book to illustrate my struggle, why I do the starting and the stopping. And this is the good news. If you're starting and stopping, yours may not be the exact same reason, but here's the good news. You can learn why. That's great news. Because if you can learn to start and stop, then you can learn to start and stay started. Oh, I'm preaching now. Oh my goodness, I'm preaching now. If you can learn to start and stop, you can learn to start and stay started. Remember, life is a product of learning. It's what you're learning. It's what you're made aware of. It's what you choose to decide, what you choose and decide to learn. So my prayer was, Lord, obviously there's something that keeps stopping me. And last time I checked, I can't point to any human being that's stopping me. I can't point to you, God. I don't see you stopping me. I didn't feel that way. So what is it about me that makes me stop? And this is why self-discovery is so important. This is why discovering self is so important. This is why assessments are so important. This is why intrapersonal communication is so important. This is why the self-concept and the self-conversation are so critical to you creating the life that you want to live. Because it's just about the information that you have accessible to you, about you. So when you learn to assess, you can learn to then align. And then when you learn to align, you can then learn to assign. Assess yourself, align yourself with the things that you need to align yourself with, and then you can assign yourself the various things that you need to work on. So this is the same process: assess, align, assign. I needed to assess why I keep stopping and starting. I needed to align myself with a better perspective and a better way of thinking, which is, if I can learn to stop, I can learn to start and stay started. And then assign myself small daily tasks that help me to course correct, that helps me to elicit the kind of results that I desire. And you are no different. So why do I start and stop? Well, here it is. Remember, I was telling you about that thing called delay adverse. Delay averse. It's associated with ADHD. And I had known that I, had some ADHD going on. And what I was really fascinated by was when I came across this information, it just resonated with me. It just hit home. So I knew that the grace of God had given me this opportunity to, boom, identify what was going on. Then it was up to me if I was going to go deeper and acquire the additional information about it and then put some things to work. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. I want you to begin to pray. I want you to begin to ask God to give you an awareness about what it is that's stopping you, that's causing you to continue to start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And then begin to keep your eyes open and then begin to look for those answers, for those clues. And when you latch on to something, to begin to go and do that deeper dive. And I'm going to hook you up with some tools to get you started, because I've learned a lot of us are just not even in the beginning stages. I'm going to give you a tool that I developed years ago that at least got me open and aware to my personal profile and my personal makeup, how God wired me, the gifts and talents that God's blessed me with. I had already had a lot of this information working in the background in my mind, so I was already primed and ready to get the next thing. Some of us, and you may be one of them, you need that original assessment. You need that first time out the gate assessment, and I'm going to leave a link down in the description of this episode. But let me read this to you. I took this assessment a couple of years ago, and I discovered that I am what they call a wander, or rather, I have a genius of wonder. Okay, let me put my glasses on here. Me, I ain't gotta put me glasses on to read this book. All right. So the genius of wonder, WONDER, wander. It says the genius of wonder involves the ability to ponder and speculate and question the state of things, asking the questions that provoke answers and action. People with this genius are naturally inclined to do these things. They find it easy to lose themselves in observing the world around them and wondering whether things shouldn't be different or whether there is untapped potential that should be tapped. The first stage of work calls for someone to ask a big question, to ponder the possibility of greater potential, to raise a red flag or simply speculate about the state of things. Is there a better way? Is this the best company we can be? Does anyone feel like something is wrong with the way that we deal with customers? Do we need a vacation? Always wondering, always wondering. Hmm. There's another genius, because your profile spits out two geniuses. There's another one on here, but I won't go into that one. I just wanted to stick right there because that one illustrates the biggest challenge that I have. I like to stay in the clouds. I like to imagine the possibilities. I like to think up the next big idea. I like to speculate. I like to think. I like to process. I like to observe. I like to contemplate. I like to pray. I like to be in my head. And that's not the day to day tasks. I'm all in the head. I'm all in the mind. I'm all in the brain. I'm all in the imaginary. And when it's time to come out of that magical headspace and get down to brick and mortar hard work, well, I lose interest. I lose steam. I lose motivation. It's not anything wrong with me. It's my makeup. My genius is in the mind, not the hands. I know people who do brilliant things with their hands. I mean, some amazing things, build some things, create some things. Whoo! I look at them and I just marvel. My son Aaron, he has it. He can work on cars. Anything that is physical, anything that is tangible, anything that needs to be fixed, you call on Aaron. He does it, gifted naturally. His brain works a different way, and his hands, he just knows how to put things together. Mr. Gadget, Mr. Fix It comes to him easily. It's his genius. That's not my genius. So the conversation that I had to have with myself is, okay, number one, right? Because everything goes from concept to conversation, from conversation to capacity, capacity to change. Okay. If you haven't heard me share that, let me share that again. If you ever want to make a change, and like in this case, right, going from starting to stopping to starting and staying started, right? Then my 4 C's: concept, right? What you see in yourself, the self concept. Number 2, which is your conversation, what you say to yourself. Number 3, that leads to a greater capacity to be able to manage the internal world. That capacity then allows for lasting or consistent change. So the reason that I've been inconsistent, the reason that I keep starting and stopping is because I was not aware, though I had taken the assessment, though I had gathered this knowledge, I had not applied it on a conscious level. I had not applied it from a self awareness, appreciation to my current situation, application to my current situation perspective. Here's what I mean. I took the assessment in the book and said, oh, that's me. Awesome. Wrote it down, sacked it away. I know more about myself. That was where I was at that time. I just need to gather more about myself. It was like at that time, that was enough, just knowing more about myself. But I didn't apply it. I didn't do anything with it. I wasn't in pain enough. I wasn't suffering enough. There wasn't enough on the line. Well, going back to my earlier story, on the job, that was a wake-up call. Boom. That got me to sit up in my seat like, whoa, I don't like this. I don't care for this. Something's got to change here. And that was enough for me to then go back and do all the steps that I just outlined, but then to go full circle back to information that I had already had. And in the world of ADHD, they just call it delay aversion. Really what it is also the fact that I'm a wanderer. I like to wonder. I like to be in the clouds. I like to think of the next big idea. It's easy for me to sit somewhere for hours and contemplate, come up with brilliant ideas, all of these great ideas. But then when it's time to actually do the work and actually do the mundane, the boring, then I start to fizzle out. So what do I do with this? Well, now I can gather all of this information and then I can begin to research, which I've already done. I can begin to now put together a game plan that says, I know that my strong suit are these things. And over here, the daily implementation, that's not where I'm so strong. But there is a framework, both mentally and a physical, tangible framework that I can create. And I've already begun to create it for myself, where I can appreciate the mundane and the gray and the boring enough to get enough done on a consistent of enough basis to get across the finish line. I wanted to share that with you because I wanted to give you hope. I wanted to educate you. I wanted to encourage you. I wanted to empower you that if you're feeling some type of way about yourself and you're feeling like, man, I keep starting, I keep stopping. There's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm never going to live my dream. Maybe I'm never going to cross my finish line. Maybe I'm never going to make that thing happen. Maybe I'm never going to, bring that product to life. Maybe I'm never going to start that business or that ministry. Maybe I'm never going to have that life. I'm never going to buy that house or whatever it is. You're in that doubt. You're in that fear. You're in that worry. You're in that I'm never going to. No, 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 no. This place here, I am the possible. This space, this place, perspectives on life that give life to what's possible in life, in your life. That thing that you want that's in your heart, just like it is in mine, it is possible. How is it possible? Because God has designed us in such a way that we can learn our way into the life that we desire. We just need to relate better to ourselves in order for us to create better for ourselves. And this includes God. This includes our creator, big C, capital C, creator. This includes Christ. This includes prayer and the Spirit of God. This includes these things. It's not above or separate. It's all one. We are designed by God. It is our godly design, divine design. And you have strengths and you have weaknesses, and you can learn to leverage both. And that's the hope that I wanted to give you today. So I just hope and pray, man, that you really hear my heart. I'm going to be sharing so much more in the upcoming weeks and months and years, God willing, about my own life, the things I'm going through, the struggles that I'm facing, in hopes that you can relate better to me and that you can see yourself in some of these things, and um, that I just be an encouragement to you. All right. Ultimately, one last thing that I wanted to share. I'm gonna put an image up on the screen. It's an image of a battery, of a car battery, and I think this is a great illustration to kind of close this thing out. This car battery, it has two ports, the positive and the negative. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this law of polarity. It basically says that there's two sides to everything. There is never just one side of anything. You ever have a slice of bread? It is impossible for a slice of bread to have one side. When I first heard that, it, it tickled me, but it was also fascinating. It was brilliant. Can't have a one-sided slice of bread. So the law of polarity basically says you've got to have two sides to every coin, two sides to every situation, two sides to everything, including yourself. That's where people talk about the shadow self and these other things. I won't go down that path right now, but there's two sides to everything. Well, on this battery that you're seeing on the screen, there's a positive side and a negative side. In order for your car to run, you're going to have a battery that has enough charge to start the car and to maintain that charge throughout the duration of your travel. If the battery goes out, your car stops. Your journey ends. You stop. But isn't it interesting and fascinating? And I'm going to invite you to draw the parallel between my example and life itself. Isn't it interesting how this battery, this energy source that's so vital to our starting and maintaining the start, staying started, how it has two sides to it? The red, which is the positive side, the black, which is the negative side. How it depends on both. You don't have two positive sides, you don't have two negative sides. You have one positive, you have one negative side. I did a little research about this, and they both have purposes. And if you know anything about cars and batteries, I know my son Aaron does, there's even a very systematic way to install a new battery. So let me explain the first thing. The first thing is the positive and the negative. The positive side is the signal sending side. It has the energy and it sends the energy forward. So when you connect the red side, the positive side, it's connected to certain things within the car. When you connect the negative side, that's for grounding and that's for returning the energy signal back so that it has a full circle, a full cycle of the energy flow. And that when you connect the negative side, it's grounded, it's connected to something metal up under your hood. And it's there so that the car is grounded, the battery is grounded, and the energy can flow successfully through the entire system. Both are very purposeful. If you had only a positive and no negative side, the car wouldn't start. You only got a negative side, no positive side, the car wouldn't start. You need both. Isn't it interesting in life how we need both? We need the negative and we need the positive. We need the Superman, but we need the kryptonite. We need both, right? Fascinating stuff. But let's say we wanted to put the new battery in. Which one do you connect first? Well, based upon the research, you connect the positive side first. Why? Because if you connected the negative side first and then the positive, you're usually using some sort of metal tool like a wrench. And it is possible that with the negative side already grounded first, that when you attempt to connect the positive side, it could touch something else metal underneath that hood and it could cause a complete break of the circuit, shut everything down at the worst. Or it could start some sparks, could possibly shock you or even start a fire. Very systematic, specific way of connecting one thing to the other. And so you got to start with the positive, then you connect the negative. Isn't that interesting in life? You should maybe start with the positive before allowing the negative, which is still necessary to be connected. So, what is the positive? The positive is your chosen concept, your chosen conversation based upon that concept, which then leads to the capacity that you require to take on the negative charge. See, if you start with a positive concept of yourself, the way you see yourself, it being very powerful and positive, that concept is going to lead to the conversations that you have with yourself, which are then fueled with positive energy and powerful energy. So then by the time we get to building out capacity to take on more weight and pressure and stress, more tasks, more responsibility, which could easily be viewed as the negative, you now have the space to do so. And then that leads to change. Isn't it wonderful? Yeah, man. I mean, that's what God gave me. Did a little research, and that was the revelation that God gave me. And I just wanted to share that revelation with you. We need both the positive and we need both the negative. But let's connect the positive first and then the negative so we can have the capacity to be consistent so that we can start and stay started. I hope and pray that this has all made sense to you. Yeah. So that's it for this week, man. Love you guys, praying for you guys, believing in you guys. Listen, please do me a favor, drop a comment, share, like, subscribe. If you've not subscribed on the tube, head over to YouTube. I Am the Possible. Type it in, get over there. All right. Subscribe on the tube. Leave a comment. If you're listening on a podcast platform, there is a link at the top of this description. Leave your question, anonymous question. I do not get your information, but leave your anonymous information your anonymous question. Ask a question. Did something I say stick out? Do you have further questions? This is why this is very important. I want to answer your questions as a bonus track episode every week, but I need questions. So submit your questions. I don't get your name. I don't get your phone number. It's anonymous. I don't know who you are. So you don't have to fear, putting your business out there, anything like that. Trust me, just click the link, drop your question. I'll get the question on the back end and I will create a episode based upon your question. I think that's pretty cool that you can interact with someone that has a podcast and say, hey, man, create an episode about this or talk more about this or what's your perspective on this, right? Share your pain points. Ask questions. Let me know, right, what you're thinking, and I would love to be able to create some content around that. But again, leave reviews, comments, shares, like it, tell somebody about it. Your support is very important to me. And then lastly, we're also, and there's a link in the description as well. If you want to support this platform, right? There's monthly costs that come with this platform. I didn't start like a Patreon sort of account or anything, but I do have the ability to take monthly contributions if you want to support this podcast. So there's a link down below for that as well. And so sometimes people want to support you financially. They want to sow into your work, into your ministry, but they don't know that, it's available. Well, it is available. And there's a link down below that you can click and you can begin to be a monthly contributor, a monthly partner. And in upcoming, months and whatnot, I'm going to start to put together some very special content, some very special experiences for those that want to partner with me in that way, as a way of just saying thank you, just for your additional financial support. All right. So that's it, man. Keep me in your prayers as I'm keeping you in my prayers. And again, I hope and pray that I've said something that has added value, that has encouraged you, educated you, and empowered you to be all that God has made possible for you to be. All right. Love you guys, praying for you guys and believing in you guys. Until next time, this is Treveal C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? And this is the space, this is the place called the I Am the Possible podcast experience, the place where possibilities become perspective and where we share perspectives on life that give life to what is possible in life, your life. God bless you.